Once Human is getting some massive updates and changes. I just had an insider developer interview going over some of the future things they're going to be announcing, where I have a ton of details before it gets officially announced. We'll go over the future roadmap details, as well as some new scenarios, including what they're prioritizing behind the scenes. We'll also do some controversial topics like the cosmetics and loot box system. Additionally, we'll even cover some player feedback that's being addressed and those highly requested features. We got a ton to talk about. What's up world, it's Utopia back in with another video. Today we're checking out all things Once Human. Okay, so first up we'll go over the official events that are happening, and then we'll go into the developer interview because it is quite long. So jumping over, we did have this one called the Trial of the Icy Mysteries. This event period will go from November 1st till November 7th, where they will be posting an image to this Trial of Mysteries new category or new chat. If you find the landmark within 24 hours and take a creative screenshot of your character in front of it, you can also include a brief story, explanation of your experience with your submission. If you get the fastest or the fastest 3 players, those will receive $3 gift cards. The top 10 players will also receive $10 or have a chance to receive $10 gift cards. It does seem like there's no limitation here, so you'll be able to participate every single day. Next up here, we do have some upcoming events and even an announcement here. So of course they say November is upon us, bringing those cozy nights and exciting adventures. Of course, we've already seen the Trial of Icy Mysteries announced. They have a new calendar here showcasing all of these events. We have the Deviation revamp, which will be taking place from the 8th all the way, which looks like to the end of the month. And then starting on November 15th, we have the Gravity Chasers. That's going to be another week there and ending on the 21st of November. Jumpstarting the next event there, which is the Thanksgiving Harvesting Memories. That will last from the 22nd all the way to the 28th. Moving back though, since now we have the future updates and future events out of the way, we do have that insider developer interview with the content creators. Now again, this was housed only to a specific few, but I did take notes during the entire thing, and they have a bunch of new information on future scenarios, as well as what I talked about at the beginning. So starting here, what are we going to be seeing with future scenarios? What is the roadmap looking like? So for the roadmap purposes, they've said that they want to revamp PvP. That's their main priority at the moment. They also have something coming up here like the mobile test, so they are going to be testing the mobile platform again. They're working on fixing lag right now, which is the first priority, which they also go over here. There's going to be 3 to 4 major updates per year. So it does look like most scenarios are going to be on a 3 or 4 month cycle, as they probably thought that 6-week one and that PvP one was a little bit too short. Most likely was seemingly just a test scenario. Now they will be eventually promoting the future scenario, but we do have a few more details there overall. So the new scenario, what they talked about, what's going on there, seemingly it's going to be something with hard mode, or at least a more challenging environment. They said it's not going to be numerically challenging, but the gameplay elements will be entirely different. And it's not going to be the same as the normal hard mode where they just ramped numbers up. Which does lead me on to my next point here. There's going to be no hard mode for the Way of Winter. So specifically, this will not be with Way of Winter. This is going to be with a different map or the current map set. And it's not going to be numerical challenges, as I said. It's going to be different gameplay elements that we're going to be seeing with this future scenario. Again, as they do mention, their number one priority right now is fixing that lag and revamping PvP to be set for that. Seemingly, the new scenario will be PvP. Or at least they're gearing for another scenario that's PvP, either not this next one or the next one after that. Also with that new scenario or the next new scenarios, they're not going to be hard mode and they're not going to be on the Way of Winter, which means that PvP will not be Way of Winter either. But they do say that it will be quite interesting, and it's going to be potentially the same or familiar with other games. So look to other MMOs for that inspiration. I'm kind of hoping for New World influence races. I feel like those were really successful with New World, so I'm hoping we do get those with PvP. If you aren't familiar with those influence races, essentially they do have these races every single day, where people need to gear up and get together with their faction. Again, we're not for sure if they're going to do faction-based ones, but then they duke it out and fight it out, and whoever has or pushes the most influence, either by doing PvP quest or by doing the most eliminations, that all gears to influence, will essentially be able to war on a territory. Again, not sure if they're going to do something like that, but I do hope we see that overall, as we kind of already have territory sections out and we already have towns. So I'm hoping that they do kind of bring that mechanic in where maybe even factions own certain towns or certain guilds can. I just think the more PvP we get together, or the more PvP that we have, like those PvP events, the better for the game overall, as long as they do fix that lag. Which I do have some notes on the lag here, so do stay tuned for that. They're also prioritizing fixing ziplines, and currently there's some zipline issues. they've turned off the fly hack anti-cheat for Ziplines specifically. So there's not going to be any auto bans there. We've had some auto bans of people getting to territories or areas that they're not supposed to be. They've turned that off completely, so don't worry if there's any issues with ziplinings. You shouldn't have any issues there. Which does bring me on to the lag issues. Late November, they are upgrading the entire server hardware. So this should be a massive change for Once Human. We've had a lot of notes on them optimizing servers, but there's still a lot of issues. So they are upgrading, and it seems like they're upgrading their entire server hardware. So either by getting a new provider, or the hardware they're using for the servers is going to be entirely upgraded. Or the first 2 weeks of November, they're going to be more optimization with code, specifically fixing stuttering issues with DX12. There's also going to be some code-based optimizations. And then late November, or at the end of November, we're going to be getting that upgraded server hardware. So that should be the most influential change to this server infrastructure and just server lag issues in general. We'll have to see what they say on this. They've been said that they're going to fix the lag issues several times now, but seemingly because this is the first time they've ever said they're going to upgrade their hardware, I do think we'll actually see some changes there. Again, time will tell. They also mentioned that food consumption rate and just consumption rate in general will be adjusted downwards. It's going to make it so that things don't tick as fast. A lot of tick rates seem a little bit too strong right now, which also leads me on to they said that extreme weather will now have enough time to adjust instead of certain eliminations, or essentially you not being able to negate that at all. You'll be able to have time to adjust and stop that. Well, they did mention their original intention was just to bring interesting challenges, but realized the extreme weather effects went far. Moving on though, we do have some notes about cosmetic stuff as well as loot box. We have a lot of issues here addressed. So they did say that the glass pack, there was like a lot of notes on people wanting glass floors and glass ceilings. Well, they did say that eventually they might get new pieces completely for free. So if you do own the glass pack, you might actually see new pieces added to that with no additional charge there. However, they do mention for sure that you won't see any new items added to the glass pack this year, but that is mentioned for maybe next year if they do bring any new stuff there at all. Jumping over quickly to a Reddit post, which does coincide with the interview. If you've been playing on the Way of Winter right now, apples were worth a ton because they were essentially not on the map at all, and you had to get them very rarely with mining. In fact, they noted that a streamer spent like 20 hours mining for apples. This is because you do need them for the thermal tower upgrades. And only people that had apple seeds on the Eternal Land or could bring them over from Eternal Land were able to essentially use those right now. They have had a hotfix and patch out this morning, so now you can use onions and a few other things there, so you don't actually have to use that anymore. There was a little post here explaining the reference. Stock prices of apples have gone down essentially. But yeah, now you can use different fruits and vegetables in your thermal tower upgrades. You don't actually have to just use apples anymore. They've also mentioned there's going to be different ways to acquire them in the future. Now there was some notes on territory reporting, as some players have been putting territories in certain areas that are affecting thermal towers. They did say there's going to be an entirely new reporting system and that bans will happen where you can report both a territory and a player at the same time while they're in their territory, and that when they get banned, their territory will be removed. Which also with the territory stuff, they are adjusting water pumps. That will make sure that you're able to select what you want to extract from water pumps, because people have been placing thermal towers down and affecting people's water pumps where they're not able to get certain items out of there, either oil or just dirty water in general. Now you can select what you want to extract if the area has that. And there's also future plans for thermal towers in development, but they're waiting for more feedback. Jumping over, we do have those cosmetic concerns. I know a lot of you have been bringing up the loot boxes. They mention here that the loot box is a sensitive topic with the devs and the players. Seems like there's a little bit of infighting there with some of the developers from the Western dev team that really want loot boxes kind of either not removed, but they want the cosmetics to be purchasable. They did also take feedback from hundreds of creators, including myself. That feedback is still being worked on in future optimizations there. There was also some mentions on how TFD, or the First Descendant, did add the ability to buy cosmetics that are no longer going to be in loot boxes, or just being able to buy the cosmetics that aren't in bundles like TFD. So you can just buy the one cosmetic from the bundle, you don't have to buy the whole thing. They didn't mention anything too much there, but they did say there would be more direct purchases in the future. There was also a question related to paid cosmetics in free events, but there will never be paid cosmetics in free events. They said this is because they actually do value and their focus is on the paid cosmetic users. So for some that might be a bit disappointing there, but they do mention that there will be more free earnable cosmetics in the future eventually, and you'll also be able to earn the paid cosmetics in events that they do host through the Discord, although those will be very limited because they mentioned they do want to respect people that do pay for the cosmetics. Now with that, people have wanted less cyberpunk cosmetic stuff and more military survival style. They are taking feedback there. They're going to be trying potentially to bring more cosmetics that are geared towards what the NPCs look like. Again, no for sure mention there, but we should have that eventually. With the topic of cosmetics coming around, we did have a lot of people discuss this. They want to change their body type. That feature is coming before the end of the year. There might be like a ticket system, or you might be able to just use your cosmetic token, your rechange token, to change your appearance. That will allow you to change your body type if you wanted to do so. Next up here, we do have some mentionables on the UI, and they're looking to change and revamp that. We have some controller issues being brought up. However, they're still looking for feedback there. There are future plans, but nothing set as of yet, as they haven't found a full solution, and that will be implemented more than likely next year. Next up, we do have a massive feature being talked about. Now, this will be unveiled to you guys officially in the next couple of days. I believe they said Saturday night. However, we are going to be getting something called Scenario Subscription 2.0, which is a brand new system with UI changes showing registration times. Again, when you do sign up for a scenario, that will bring up the registration times for that scenario. That way you'll be able to better note when you can register for that specific server. They're also going to adjust based on the player signups. So the more players that sign up for a certain scenario, they'll adjust those. And now one of the most massive requested features, there's going to be a team registration system. So you'll be able to register with your friends all at once, and all members of that team will be included. That way you guys can sign up all together with your friend group, and no one will be left behind. They're going to be increasing the number of maximum players who can get invited, while some scenarios and servers will be taken offline faster if the feedback shows lower player counts. That did happen a bit with hard mode servers, with the easy mode being basically taken offline. They're going to be more agile there with that happening very fast. They're going to just take those offline. Now, as I mentioned here, all of this stuff more than likely will be showcased to you Saturday night. The dev mentioned next week, but the community manager did correct there, saying it might be Saturday night, Sunday morning in China. So this is some brand new information that's not out there as of right now. If you enjoyed today's video, like and subscribe, and until the next one, deuces.